So continuing on with our discussion of the Son of God, all that is trying to be related is that there was some loving intelligence that has provided this sun for us. If Earth was 2 degrees closer to the sun, we would burn up and die. If the distance from the sun were just 2% greater, we would freeze to death. And so the sun itself is looked upon by many of the ancients as our Savior, and indeed it is. But if we think about it, that there must have been some supreme intelligence that engineered it so that this sun would be at the proper distance so that we can have life on the earth. And this is what the religious teachers were trying to tell us. We read in the Gospel of John about the marriage feast in Cana. Well, it turns out from what I've learned from a film by Jordan Maxwell, that was an ancient Canaanite festival. It was called the marriage feast of Cana. It was the marriage feast. It was the marriage of earth to the sun. And the sun was asked to change water into wine. And this is something that just happens naturally in nature. But why does it happen? Because the sun warms the earth containing the water and the other minerals and nutrients for the vine of the grape. And the vine, through this nourishment of the sun and the rain, which was looked upon as sperm from God. And it's interesting, you can look that up even in Genesis when it's talking about the Spirit of God moving upon the face of the waters. The word water just means moisture. It can mean the ocean, it can mean the sea, it can mean spit, it can mean perspiration, bodily fluids, just simply moisture. So the sun heats the earth up, the water goes out of the earth with all the nutrients into the vine creates grapes. We crush the grapes and we make new wine. And that was the miracle, and indeed it is, because we cannot just do this on our own. On our own, we wouldn't have the intelligence to figure out how this works. And they're just trying to tell us that there is some sort of a divine being behind our intelligence and behind the workings of the universe. And we can learn from these workings about this force, which we call God. We can look at the Trinity of the Son, which was looked upon as the Father, and the moon, which was looked upon as the bride or the mother, and moonlight, the reflected light off of the moon, as the sun, because that's exactly what it is. It is radiation from the sun. It is the light. So at night we can see the sun reflected off the moon, but we cannot actually see a beam of light going through space onto the moon. We can just see the light reflecting off of the moon. And in the 28-day cycle, which corresponds directly with a female's menstrual cycle, 28-day cycle of the moon, that the father's radiation goes to the moon, and the moon over this 28-day period of time, from a new moon being completely dark or blank of reflection of the sunlight, becomes full. It becomes pregnant with the light of the sun, and this light shines down upon us. So two aspects, and we're not stating to worship the moon, we're not stating here to worship the sun. All we're stating is that it is a simple scientific principle that has been spiritualized. Simple scientific principles that have been spiritualized. And we're shown this both in the cycle of the sun over the earth. We know that the earth travels around the sun, but back in ancient times, when they did not know that and they thought that the earth was flat, they used to portray the sun as being carried across the sky in a chariot. And you will see many portrayals of this. And it is the sun. We've all done that as children. We've taken our crayons and we've drawn the sun with a big happy face on it. And we used to do it before there was such a thing called a happy face. We'd draw the sun up on the sky there with all his hair, his rays, which is in with Jesus Christ is the crown of thorns. And you can see it with the Statue of Liberty. It is a crown with spikes on it, but that's nothing more than a portrayal of the rays coming from the sun. We can see ancient Egyptian writings or pictographs where the people are holding up their hands to the sun, and you've seen that many times with Christians do that in church. In certain circles, they raise their hands up in prayer to the Lord. It's been done for thousands of years, and it is simply what we do outside. We go up, we put our hand out to the sky, we can feel the warmth from the sun, and it's all they're trying to portray is just as we did, taking the sun and anthropomorphized it and changed it into a smiling, happy man in the sky. Well, that's what Jesus Christ is. He is simply a man that is created to represent the sun. And when he is talking about his Father in the sky, he is not actually talking about the sun itself. Constantine, who is proclaimed a great hero by the Christian church because of this sign that he saw in the sky, and that he legalized Christianity, in actuality was a worshiper of Sol Invictus. He did actually worship not a force that created the world, but he actually worshipped the sun. And prior to the time of his legalizing Christianity, he had legalized Mithraism, and it was the church of the Roman Empire, the official religion of the Roman Empire prior to Christianity, and it is in almost all phases identical to Christianity today. Identical to it.